Hello, everybody. Welcome to LT Gaming. My name is Tom.
And hey everyone, welcome to LT Gaming. My name is Luke, and I'm back with a co-op video with Tom this time.
And today we're looking at 10 games to get excited for in 2023.
We do have a couple of caveats on that, so we expect these games to come out in 2023, but don't hold it against us if they don't. Also, we're not including early access titles that have already been released. So make sure to drop down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and we look forward to all of your interactions.
So let's crack on with the video.
Right guys, so how we have devised this video is I have picked 5 games and Thomas picked 5 games, and we're just going to go into a general discussion about what we're excited about.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we'll probably be pretty clueless about each other's games. Particularly, I can say I don't recognize half of yours, so let's just jump
in. We have different tastes, but I think that's one of the strengths of the channel, right? We have different things that we bring.
100%. All right, game number 1.
Game number 1 is going to be Dune Awakening, and the reason I'm very excited about this in 2023 is I was a little bit of a Conan Exiles addict. I picked it up one Christmas, I think you'll remember this, Tom, and I played it like crazy, and then you joined me.
Yes, and that was my downfall. I lost my Christmas to Conan.
We did, right? We went a little bit crazy on it, and we did one where we built insane structures. We had everything you can think of, and then we just kind of wandered off for a few days and lost interest.
Yeah, and just to clarify for the viewers, this game is an open world survival MMO.
Correct. So I imagine it's set in the Dune universe, and it's going to be a similar game to Conan, which I think could be a lot of fun because that game has a very addictive arc, right?
Yeah, and I think they really mixed in the lore elements of Conan very well, and so you kind of felt immersed in that side of things. So I'm hoping the same with Dune as well.
For sure, and there are some controversial elements around Conan. I've seen some, very interesting comments on, they're not listening to game players and stuff like that. But I think with this, they're onto a winner with the lore already. It's about exploring Arrakis. I just think it looks absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to play this. I mean, anything to do with Dune, I really love. The books, the new movie, I thought was great. So yeah, well, maybe not the movie from the 80s, but hey, it's not too bad.
So moving on from Dune, we are gonna jump completely to another genre. So we're gonna look at Homeworld 3, which is a game I featured quite a bit on the channel recently. Have you heard of Homeworld 3, Luke?
I may have heard of Homeworld 3, and of course we played the original games quite a lot when we were kids, and then recently I had a run through Remastered maybe a couple of years ago. I've also been playing the Star Trek and Star Wars mods for that game.
Yeah, I mean, the remastered versions were done so well, which is always like a bit of a fear when you revive an old series. So it has enthused me for Homeworld 3, and there's quite a few elements which they're going to build upon. So they want to kind of construct these massive 3D monoliths and environments to fight in, which I think will be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the screenshots look pretty damn epic from what I'm seeing, and it is the original team, or most of the original team, who worked on the games that we remember, and I think that's a winning formula, right? I know there's a lot of expectation for this one though, so let's wait and see.
Yeah, even from the comments on the last Homeworld 3 video I did, people have very high expectations, and this could be kind of a crushing blow if they don't knock it out the park. So
I'm going to be honest, including me, I have kind of high expectations for this game. I'm very excited.
Yeah, but one good thing is they got the same music composer from the originals, so the music should be pretty epic.
I hope so. I hope so. Okay, so the next game we're moving on to is a bit of an unusual one, but it's Nivalis. And this game comes from a game called Cloudpunk, and I don't think you ever played that, right, Tom?
I have zero idea about this game. Never heard of it, to be honest with you.
Essentially, you drive around like a cyberpunk city doing missions in this taxi, and it was very immersive. And essentially, out of that, they have built a simulation game, and they plan to release it, and it looks really, really cool. You get to grow your own business, manage restaurants and nightclubs, and honestly, I think this sort of simulation game is kind of my favorite, so I can't wait for it.
And so when you say cloudpunk, it's a futuristic world that's attached to any sort of lore, or
Yeah, basically their own lore. So it's a cyberpunk world which has kind of turned a little bit dystopian. And I won't spoil what happens in Cloudpunk, but obviously they're going to expand on that. So to wrap this one up, it just looks like an awesome simulation and very immersive. And that's really why I game.
yeah, I mean, I didn't know about this one, but I definitely like the setting. I've played a lot of Cyberpunk, the game, and also like those sort of dystopian games. So no, I'm looking forward to this one as well now.
The only caveat really is there's not a huge amount of information on it yet, and there's no real release date. So this is one that might fall outside 2023, but still, I'm excited about it nonetheless.
And so the next game on our list is my pick, but I probably imagine it would be one for both of us. Pharaoh, A New Era, which is the remake of the classic Impressions games 1997, 8, I think. City builder. You excited for this one?
I am, and like I said, I really enjoyed the original Pharaoh back in the day, a very classic gaming experience. And I think, like you said, both of us are very excited for this one and how they're going to remaster it and how it looks and just the gameplay element, right? It brings a classic gaming element into the new era, and we're always down for that.
Yeah, I think there's been a real trend in the gaming industry lately of what you would call definitive kind of remastered versions of games. And for the most part, I think the quality, I'm thinking like the Age of Empire series, has been pretty high. So that kind of fills me with a bit of hope for this one. The only worry I would have is that they do kind of no innovation whatsoever. And I think in kind of modern city builders, you probably need to push the boundary a little bit for it to be a new classic, if you like.
Agreed, but I did play the demo and it played very much like the original, but with such nice, crisp visuals that it was a whole new experience. And I really enjoyed that demo, and I gotta say, overall, I think this was a great choice because I am excited for it.
Cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but are we gonna get access to this title slightly before?
So often you are wrong, but hey, in this sense, you're not, because I have spoken to the developer or the publisher, and they have said we will be getting a copy, but I probably should follow up on that, but I would be very excited to cover this on the channel.
Yeah, so don't hold us to it, but hopefully we'll get an early look at the game, and you guys can tune in and let us know what you guys think about it.
Okay, so the next one I want to discuss is Falling Frontier. Basically a sci-fi real-time strategy game, which I feel has kind of fallen out of favour, but like Tom said with Homeworld 3, should be coming back strong in 2023.
Yeah, and I don't know much about this game, to be honest, but I have seen its Hooded Horse, am I right?
Correct, and Hooded Horse, if you're out there, we've reached out to you a few times for keys and we've heard nothing back, so we'd love to hear back from you.
Give us some love, come on.
Yeah, so essentially, they describe it as a revolutionary sci-fi RTS, and I have seen some videos out there on this. I don't know a huge amount about it, but the premise and the fact that it's RTS set in space has my attention.
Yeah, I am always wary because every game I read about on Steam is revolutionary, but what are they saying is going to be the revolutionary aspects?
So it's got a cool logistics system. I think the ship design system is deep, and you have to... they talk about a recon element as well as a critical element of the game, and that's something to look forward to. I just think it looks great. The videos I've seen, it looks really interesting in that sense. And yeah, it's Hooded Horse. They've done awesome games like Terra Invicta. The quality coming out of that studio is very high.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm curious with this one because I always look at, is this game relevant to you on Steam? And for me, it shows it's similar to EU4 and Civilization 5. And I'm like, okay, those are both turn-based or real-time with polls. So, interesting that this is showing up as similar to that. Probably grand strategy-esque, or...
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's completely similar to those games. I don't really trust Steam on those recommendations. For me, it says Terra Invicta and EU4. But I think it will be similar in some ways to Terra Invicta, but it's very much focused on being a sci-fi real-time strategy game with a detailed design for your ships.
Sweet. Excited for that one.
Very much so.
And next on the list, we are going to the Warhammer universe for Blood Bowl 3. I'll be honest, I found out this game's coming out the other day. I hadn't heard of it before, but I have played the other Blood Bowls a lot. I think you have too.
Yeah, I played a lot of the original game and the expansion packs at the time, and then got involved in Blood Bowl 2 as well. I was not aware this was coming out either, and I see it's out pretty soon on the 23rd of February. So yeah, that certainly is exciting.
Yeah, and I do have some critiques of the first game where I felt like after a while in the campaign it got a bit samey. So I do hope it's going to kind of build and expand on those, and it's not just going to be cashing in the Warhammer universe, which I feel like happens quite a bit.
For sure, and I think it's important in this one, it's not just a big graphical overhaul, right? That it has a lot more of extra features, but I do see it features a solo campaign, 12 races. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a good release, and certainly one I'm going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, same here. So we'll keep you posted on that one. Who knows? Maybe we can even get early access to that as well.
Maybe we could play each other in a game of Blood Bowl 3, huh?
Yeah, that could end violently as well.
Anytime me and you compete with each other, it usually ends pretty badly.
Pretty poorly. We tend to do co-op.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that time I played you in Total War.
Moving swiftly on.
Okay, so my next choice is Seapower, Naval Combat in the Missile Age. Quite a long and convoluted title, but it's being released by Microprose Software, and the screenshots from me as a wargamer, someone who plays DCS and modern combat operations, they look great. There's a beautiful screenshot of an F-14, and I'm very excited for this one. The details aren't great, but the premise and what I can see on the Steam page, I'm excited.
Yeah, so I did cover this as well in my top 5 upcoming strategy games, so I do have a little bit of knowledge about it. But it's inspired by an old Microprose game. The name escapes me. Do you know it?
It's actually not an old Microprose game. It's the lead developer from a game called Cold Waters, and I think that was Killerfish Games. They developed that game, and they went on to do War on the Sea, but Cold Waters is a very, very good game, so I'd be excited with that developer on board.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the visuals on this one too. Really excited. Maybe we'll be able to get some early access to it. Who knows? Let's see.
I would absolutely love that, because I am a huge fan of the era in which it's set, the Cold War between the 60s and 80s. Obviously, you've got all of the classic planes in there, the classic ships, and I just think it looks like a really interesting and fun title. And I don't think that many people are aware of this one.
Yeah, and I think Microprose have been killing it since they come back on this kind of rampage of great war games.
I totally agree. They are producing some really good stuff, and it's so great to have them back.
And this brings us on to the next game that we have, which is going to be Stargate Timekeepers. I would say there's a good few things going for this game that's making me super excited. One, it's a Stargate game. I've been super into the Stargate universe for a long time, and I feel like there's never been a great game in this area. And two, it's a developer that we have a lot of their games and featured a lot of their games, and that's Slytherin.
Totally agree. We love Slytherin on this channel. They've been very good to us as well. And Stargate Timekeepers reminds me of an older Star Trek game, a tactical game called Star Trek Away Team. And I think this looks very similar. It's a real-time tactics game. And also, I have to say, I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm excited, and also a little bit of worry, because I feel like there are a lot of real-time tactics games out there, and it's sometimes easy to get them wrong or make them a little bit formula.
They're not always my favorite type of game either, and I struggle sometimes with them and the difficulty levels that they have. But overall, I do think that, like you said, there's been nothing really in the Stargate universe that I remember. And, I think the lore with Slytherin doing this, I think they're onto a winner anyway, in my opinion.
Agreed. And I really like the setting they've chosen. So if anyone knows the setting, it's like Anubis arc in Stargate SG-1, which is the best TV series by far. They're kind of positioning it between, I think, season 7 and 8 as this kind of unique lost in time type story. So really excited for that one. Bit scant on details right now, but hoping to get some peaks early in the year.
I do know that they have 14 narrative-rich missions, and I think it's very important they get that element right in this, that it does have that rich lore to back it up. And, look, Slytherin, they do a great job on most of their games. So, yeah, I have to say, definitely at the top of my list for excitement. So the next game on my list is, I'm cheating a little bit, but it's a DLC, and it's going to be X4 Kingdom End for the game X4 Foundations. I've been a fan of X3 and X4 for a long time. I've played a ridiculous amount of this game. I think it's 450 hours plus, and it's just an excellent game made by a really cool developer in Egosoft. And essentially, they're bringing in the Boron race, a number of new ships, and the 3.6.00 update, which will bring a lot more to the game.
Yeah, I mean, you've looked at this game a hell of a lot more than me. I think I've just briefly loaded it up. But how is the expansion? What's it going to add in terms of... So you said it's going to add a new race, but is it going to expand the features much? Do you know anything about that? Or...
Yeah, so it's the fourth expansion in the X4 universe, and it brings mainly in the Boron ships and story arc, which will have distinctive systems, and you'll be able to go on a journey of discovery through those unique quests, like the other DLC have brought in. Also, you get new ships, which is always a bonus, and when they bring that big update online for X4 players, you'll have a number of quality of life improvements as well. And one big thing, we should get some more performance improvements, which are always welcome with this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit fearful of ever picking this game up because I think it's just going to eat up all my time. Because I remember back when you got it, this is probably back in the days of X3, but I would just see, you were playing X3 Foundations all the time. So
yeah, so X3 was called Terran Conflict, and I played a lot of that, and then I got frustrated because the AI would basically destroy your entire fleet, and that's always been a problem with the X series, right? But X4, you could lose a lot of time to this. You're completely right. It's a total time sink, and I often don't have the time to play it anymore, but I certainly will give my attention to the new expansion.
On a complete side note, do you know if this works on the Steam Deck as well, or?
Yeah, I've actually trialed it, right? And it works perfectly fine, but it does really tank the battery life. I think I was getting like an hour with X4, so if they improve on that, it might even be playable on the Steam Deck. X3, however, perfectly playable and one of my top games to play on Steam Deck.
Yeah, see, this is my fear right here, because I click on X4 on Steam, and it has, similar to games you've played, EU4 and EVE Online, and I have over 1,500 hours in both games. So...
You would love this game. I really think you would enjoy it. And honestly, one of the most immersive games I've ever played, because it just takes you into the universe and you just end up going on these random little quests to do things and go mining and then follow a quest line. I've lost hours to this game, and it's a really beautiful experience. And I'm really pleased that Egosoft have realized it. And, there is some controversy and some pushback around the performance of the game and other issues, but honestly, it's just so ambitious, and I really appreciate it.
Cool. Can't wait for that one then. And the next game on our list is a big one for me. It is Final Fantasy VII, the second part of the remake, also called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Very, very excited for this one.
I think this is definitely one that you're more excited about, because I played the remake and I kind of refunded it, I believe. So I wasn't a huge fan, and I think that was just the mindset I was in at the time, the type of games I was playing. But of course, I love the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I played the remake. I know what you mean. If you haven't played those sort of games for a while, it's hard to get into like this new active battle kind of setup. But I loved it. I loved the story, the nostalgia in particular. And not to give any spoilers to the remake, but it opens up the possibilities for a new story, not just a rehash of the old one. So very excited to see where they take that and if there's any major storyline changes.
Yeah, I mean, I can get behind that. I think that obviously it's an incredible lore. I love Final Fantasy games in general. I've played a lot of them. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but, they're always good. I played a bit of Final Fantasy 15 actually lately online and really enjoyed that. So, yeah, I mean, of course, I'm happy to get behind this choice. It's just not the kind of game I tend to play these days.
Yeah, in terms of Final Fantasy, I did the original 7, obviously. I did Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 13, I believe. And
Okay, yeah.
you did 13 as well, I think, right?
I have played 13, I've played 7, I've played 9, I've played a small amount of 10, and also I played the remake and refunded it because I just didn't have the time and I didn't kind of like the battle system, and also Final Fantasy 15 lately online, which is pretty cool, I have to say.
Cool. Yeah, well, so super amped for this one, and looking forward to that coming out. Might have to get PlayStation 5 to get the first release.
Okay, I look forward to that.
And there we have it, guys. 10 games that we're looking forward to in 2023. What would you say is your favourite of the bunch?
To be honest, with this bunch looking so good, it depends on what mood I'm in. Like, a military combat game like Seapower, that sometimes will be the game I really want to play, but then the simulation game like Nivalis, Dune Awakening, the X4 DLC, I can't pick, to be honest. I just think any one of those, I would be delighted if they actually do come out in 2023.
All right, well, thank you for being completely imprecise. I'll just say Pharaoh.
Okay, yeah, well, there's me just going around the houses. You were way more decisive.
I think Pharaoh, because of the nostalgia element for me, I put so many hours into that game building those bloody pyramids and all that crap when I was younger, that I'm looking forward to doing it again as an adult.
You have mentioned that game quite a lot, and I will say, guys, thanks for sticking with us through this one. We probably weren't perfect, and we had a few technical issues while filming it, but it's really great to have me and Tom on the same recording.
Yes, and also to prove that there are two people on the channel alive and well.
And we want to start doing more. It is a strength that there's two of us on the channel. We want to start coming together a bit more and doing some more videos and some more co-op stuff, but we're so busy, right?
Yeah, getting the time to pencil in the gaming when we're both free and both able to do it is very difficult, but in 2023 we're going to strive to have more co-op gameplay on the channel, co-op reviews, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think, even the two of us just sat down talking about a game would be quite entertaining. I think it's definitely a medium. I used to watch the Co-optional podcast with Total Biscuit and Dodger and Jesse Cox and people like that, and that's kind of been missing from my life. So if we could bring a bit of that back, a bit more discussion, I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, same here. And so we'll wrap this one up. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and a Happy New Year from me.
And the same. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and a Happy New Year from me and from both of us at LT Gaming.